You can't make any intentional change in your life, in your environment, without first being aware that there's something to change and that you can change it. All intentional change starts with awareness. It starts here. This is where it starts.
Welcome to Breakthrough Mode, the podcast where we intentionally get into the driver's seat of our lives, shift out of monotony and mediocrity, and step on the gas towards becoming the person we were always meant to become.
Hello and welcome to Wednesday in the Wild on the Breakthrough Mode podcast. I am your host, Megan Bauer. Thank you so much for joining me today and pushing play on today's episode. If you are joining me from YouTube, you see that I am again on my front porch recording today. It is a gorgeous morning here in Utah Valley, and I'm really excited that we are forecasted to get up into the 90s today, which of course my Texas soul truly loves. This week on Breakthrough Mode and really in all of my content across the podcast and across social media and across my emails, we are focused on noticing. We are focused on this critical piece of awareness. And since we go through most of our day, most of our week without a lot of awareness, this can be a tricky one to start to practice. However, I am going to give you my very best tips right here, right now. So I have been practicing awareness for a really long time. I realized that if I was aware to my experience, if I was aware to what was going on within me and how whatever my outer experience was impacting me, then I could actually change things. I could change my internal state in order to change my external experience. But what really gives me the power to do that is being aware in the first place. So, the very first place that you start, or that I would encourage you to start, is by noticing when you don't feel good. We notice when there's something in our body that hurts, like we will notice when there's a like unusually sharp piece of grass in our sock. And we're like, oh my gosh, I have to get my shoe off right now. I have got to get whatever is in here out right now. And I've got a German Shepherd. So she's got really coarse fur. And sometimes her just one little piece of fur, one little piece of hair will stick in a sock or in a shoe or in a shirt just the wrong way to really poke me and cause pain. And it's just this little tiny piece of hair. So we are really aware when we are in physical pain and we will stop everything to solve the problem. We want to stop being in pain. That is an indicator to do something, to change something, that something needs done, right? Whether you're removing an unusually sharp piece of grass or dog fur or whatever it is, whether you need to scan the floor for Legos or it is an indicator that something needs to change. When we are in emotional pain or mental pain, we are not so quick to do something about it. We will sit and ruminate. We will just let ourselves be in that feeling for way longer than we need to. Mostly when we are operating under a belief that there's nothing we can do about it. And if we don't have the belief that we can do something about it, then there's nothing to do, right? Like if we don't believe we can do something about it, then of course, what's the point? If I don't believe I can get the grass out of my sock, then I just have to deal with it, right? So it starts with noticing when we are in that emotional, mental pain, when we are feeling some sort of way that we don't like. And sometimes I'll feel my emotions dip and that's the cue. I'll pause. Like, what was I just thinking about when my emotions dipped? When I started feeling like crap? What was I just thinking about? And I'll take the time to trace my thoughts back to what I was thinking and then what I was believing underneath that. Now, digging at your beliefs is kind of level 3, because level 1 is stopping and noticing that you're even not feeling good, that you're not happy about something, that you feel down, that you feel discouraged. That is step 1. And then step 2 would be to trace back your thoughts. What was I just thinking? What was going on in my environment? What did I just see? And then step 3 would be to dig down and see what your beliefs are around the thoughts that you were just thinking. So that is the very first place I would start. Whenever you feel discouraged or you start to feel sad or you start to feel anxious, whenever you start to feel not good, stop there. That is your indication to stop. There is something here that needs done. There's something here that needs correcting, whether it's an action or whether you need to change the way you're thinking or whether you need to change your perspectives or your beliefs. There is something here that needs done. So that's the very first place that I would start. The second place is to grab your journal if you have one. And if you don't, go buy a journal right now so that you can really give yourself the time and space to notice what you're thinking, feeling, doing, believing, all of it. Here's the thing about using a journal or even just typing it into the notes section on your phone, if that's all you have. There are lots of studies that show the benefits of writing, but there is value in this no matter how you do it, because by stopping long enough to write out what it is you're feeling and ask yourself a series of questions, you are preventing the impulse to be in a thought loop where you just think the same things over and over again and you don't actually make any progress. You won't actually get in a writing loop. Even if you're typing, you won't. And if you do for a second, you won't stay there for very long, because when we're writing or when we're typing, we want to move on to the next thing. One sentence leads into another and leads into another. So you actually make progress on discovering what it is you are thinking and what the beliefs are underneath. So you so you have to stop and pause first to notice what it is that you're thinking, and then you can go deeper in your journal on what it is that you are experiencing within your own self. Your indicator is going to be pain. It's going to be discomfort. It's going to be anxiety. It's going to be something that you don't want to feel. That is your indicator. I went through this just yesterday. I spent about 25 minutes in my journal. I started with this problem that I was experiencing. And I asked myself a series of questions to really become aware of what was going on in my thoughts, in my beliefs, in my perspectives, in order to change the situation, in order to change how I felt about it and how I thought about it so that I can change how I approach it. But it starts with noticing. It starts with being aware, which I get is really tricky. It sounds simple, but then in practice, it's actually really tricky because we are so busy being busy. We don't allow ourselves a lot of downtime. Even if there's a long line at the grocery store, We've got our phone in our hands and we're scrolling. We're not even being aware of who is around us, what is happening. And if we can't, and if we struggle to be aware of what is happening around us, we can so easily numb that out when we have all of these senses that can really give us information. When we've numbed all of that out, it's so easy to see how we numb out our own internal experience. We avoid it, we repress it, we don't acknowledge it. We try not to acknowledge it. Some of us are actively trying to not acknowledge what is going on because it doesn't feel good, because it's scary, because we think that we can't do anything about it. And largely, you can do something about a lot of things. There are some situations that maybe you don't have complete control over or power over, but you always have control and power over your thoughts around it, your beliefs around it, and your perspective around it. You can always, always, always change those things. And when you change those things, you change your feelings around it, and then you may be surprised to receive opportunities to do something about it. As long as you are in a place where you believe that you can't do anything about it, then that is exactly what you will keep experiencing. But as soon as you open yourself up to the possibility of maybe making a change for the better, even if it's a small change, of maybe causing some sort of improvement, you will be surprised to receive opportunities for that improvement. But it starts here, my friend. You can't make any intentional change in your life, in your environment, without first being aware that there's something to change and that you can change it. All intentional change starts with awareness. It starts here. This is where it starts. If there's a habit you want to break or start, if there's a difference in your environment that you want to experience, if there's a new way you want to show up in the world, you have to become aware of what it is right now and what it is you want it to be so that you know what needs to be done in order to shift it. And what needs to be done may happen bit at a time. It may be a progress thing. This isn't like you don't know and then all of a sudden you know. This is the opening the door so that the next steps can be illuminated, even if you only get a step at a time, which is how it often happens, right? But the awareness opens the door to the possibility so that you can start moving in that direction. This is what I have for you today. In summary, I invite you to notice the emotional, mental pain that you experience, the discomfort, the sadness, the anger, the anything that indicates that something is wrong. Start to become aware of that. Start to ask yourself questions about why you're feeling that way, what you were thinking, what you're believing, even. That will give you the power to make changes. That will show you which direction to start heading in to experience what it is that you want to experience. Thank you for joining me today. I totally love you. Bye for now.